iKnow, the future of pay-per-thought education. Hello, I'm Katerina. This is my speculative design project, iKnow. It explores a near future where even your thoughts are monetized, and remembering information comes with a bill. Personal inspiration and why it matters to me. This idea came from personal experience. There have been classes I've taken with required materials, and the prices for textbooks or other materials are outrageous. I can't afford them, especially with other bills I have to pay for and for food. I've looked at scholarships and grants to help cover it and have applied to them, and sometimes I don't meet the requirements. I don't hear back even if I reach out to check in on the process or I get denied. I'm not willing to use FAFSA and have to pay them back later. Being in debt is way worse. It makes me feel like education is no longer about learning, but it is about who can afford to participate. That feeling continues to stay with me and led me to create iKnow, a world that reflects how far this problem can go if left unchecked. The wicked problem, paywalled knowledge, and the textbook industry. One of the most frustrating parts of college is textbooks and paywalled knowledge. You're expected to learn, you are charged to access the tools to do it. Textbooks can cost hundreds of dollars, access codes expire, even facts can be locked behind platforms. This isn't just inconvenient, it's unjust. That's the wicked problem I'm exploring. What happens when knowledge is controlled like a subscription service? So I ask, what if students had to pay every time they used a thought they didn't own? A world where information isn't just taught, it's licensed. This is the intro to the design of iKnow. iKnow is a cognitive subscription platform that turns learning into a pay-per-thought economy. You don't buy textbooks, you buy access to ideas. A neural chip scanner detects when you remember, use, or speak knowledge that's under intellectual property. Thinking about remembering Newton's laws? That's gonna be 15 cents. If you're quoting Shakespeare, 75 cents. Want to cite a theory on an exam? $1.25. The more you think, the more you're charged. These are the design features, visuals of the app, and the scanner, plus subscription tiers. With iKnow, you can track your daily cognitive spending, stay under your monthly brain budget, or face knowledge lockout, where priority content gets blurred in your mind, literally. Want premium features like instant downloads or academic theories or plagiarism immunity? You'll need iKnow Gold or iKnow Plus Plus. This is the concept development. Before landing on iKnow, I had considered a few other speculative design directions. Originally, I wanted to focus on burnout and rest inequality. Maybe a world where students had to log a certain number of hours of sleeping to stay enrolled. Another idea was a system where universities gave out brain-enhancing microchips, but only to students who could afford premium tuition. Both are great options, but they were more about productivity than knowledge itself. What really kept popping in my thinking was how information is controlled. Not just how we learn, but who gets to know things in the first place. And that is what brought me to the textbook industry. The more I looked into it, the more I realized that it's not just about overpriced books. It's about who owns knowledge, and who gets priced out of thinking. I started to shift the focus. Instead of designing around exhaustion, I designed around access. That's when iKnow clicked into place, a pay-per-thought system that critiques how learning itself is becoming transactional. In a philosophical frame, Roland Barthes, the myth of paying for knowledge. As Roland Barthes would say, iKnow is a myth, an ideology disguised as common sense. We have normalized the idea that paying for access to knowledge is just how education works. But Barthes teaches us to question what seems natural and to ask who benefits from those beliefs. In this system, students are positioned as consumers and learning becomes a transaction. iKnow pushes this logic to the extreme to expose the deeper ideology. That knowledge is not a shared human good, but a product to be bought, licensed, and monetized. Bart's work reminds us that myths aren't lies. They're powerful stories that shape our behavior without us realizing it. iKnow challenges the myth of the knowledge economy by showing us where that thinking could lead. While this future might seem extreme, we are already living a version of it. The College Board reports average annual textbook costs of $1,200. A U.S. PIRG study found that 65% of students opt out of buying required materials because of the price. Platforms like Cengage and Pearson Plus are already selling subscription-based access to knowledge. iKnow is speculative, but only barely. iKnow is dystopian and forces us to ask difficult questions. What happens when every piece of knowledge has a price? Who benefits from that system? It reflects how deeply the market controls what we learn, when we learn, and even if we can learn. If knowledge has a price, then learning becomes a privilege, not a right. If remembering costs money, who gets to graduate and who gets to forget? Thank you. And these are my credits for the slides I used from the site Slides Carnival. And the designs that were created were by me. Thank you again for watching.